All right, people, welcome to another episode of Natty News Daily. We got a special guest on tonight, Jack Halverson. He's the president of the USBF. I'm very excited to have him on and talk about some interesting subject tonight. So welcome, Jack. Very excited to have you on.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure. So let's kind of start with yourself. What got you into the bodybuilding world? Where did it all begin, and that kind of stuff?
It all started back about 2014. I was actually kind of leading an unhealthy lifestyle. I worked at Caterpillar, and I basically worked at a desk all day long, and family was my priority that time. I look back and I don't regret that, but I didn't take care of my health as well as I should have.
Sure.
Got quite a bit overweight, and both had a heart attack and diabetes, actually adult type 1 diabetic.
Wow.
So with those adversities, I decided to change my life around and get healthy. And after I started getting healthy, a few people asked, do you ever think about competing? And that pretty much started from there. That was about 2015 when I decided to step on stage for the first time.
Awesome. Did you follow bodybuilding, prior to that?
I did when I was in my teens. That was so the old bodybuilders definitely, but really hadn't been involved in it till I had the health issues, and it really got involved then.
Okay. Touch on your competition history. So you kicked things off in 2015. How'd it go? What'd you do, and where'd you go?
Well, my first show was a little bit disappointing. I wasn't near where I needed to be for a real competitive state, but I started out with a men's physique at an NGA show right here in Peoria, Illinois. Finished 5th out of 5 people.
Yeah.
But then it continued on, and then in 2016, by the end of 2016, I actually competed down at DFAC Worlds and took first place in my Masters competition.
That's awesome. So then fast forward to the USBF. How did you get involved with them, or like how did it all start?
So I heard that Brian Washington was looking at stepping down away from USBF, and I thought this was a great opportunity. I was already doing some promotion for NGA at the time.
Okay.
But I had stepped away for a year to figure out how I wanted to proceed, and this opportunity came about. I said, this is going to be an awesome way for me to give back to the athletes.
Yeah, for sure.
So I took over as president of the USBF then in January of 2020 last year.
Okay, right on. So for those that maybe don't know, can you give like a brief history on the USBF and all that stuff?
Actually, the USBF has been around for a while now. It's actually been serving the natural athlete for 20 plus years. Now, the last few years it has gone down, and there was only a few shows that were still in existence.
Right.
So what I've been working on is actually rebuilding that brand from the ground up, bringing on new, younger promoters, all of them athletes who have competed and know what it's like to raise that bar for the athlete's experience.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think there's, me and the other guys have talked about this before, but I think there's definitely something to having promoters, whether they've been athletes before or what the deal is, but, talking about what it is to put on a good show. There's so many things that as an athlete you want to see with regards to like lighting and stage setup and all that kind of stuff, right? Whereas if you haven't been exposed to that before and you're just, Joe Blow off the streets wants to run a bodybuilding show, like you don't know really exactly what that entails.
That's true. I recommend promoters, even my newest ones, to make sure we don't, we support all the other natural orgs, of course, and we want them to be involved with them, to do expediting, staffing wherever they can, so they can get that experience if maybe they don't have as much yet. So yeah, it's a definite recommendation.
Now, for you guys, are there certain criteria you look for when it comes to running a show with regards to like venue, lighting, and that kind of stuff? Like what kind of goes involved on the back end?
Yeah, so we're always looking for top-notch venues. We do want to keep it within the promoter's budget, of course.
For sure.
As natural promoters, you there's not a lot of money to be made. You're doing it because you have a passion over profit, honestly.
For sure.
So yeah, we want them to bring the best standards you can. We want them to create their vision. We actually look at ourselves as a family of promoters. We work with each other.
Yep.
We help staff one another's shows where we can, and we really try to make it a family affair.
Oh, that's awesome. Is the USBF nationwide, or are you kind of in a certain area?
We're growing. Probably our biggest amount of shows right now. We're in the Midwest. We have a few out east and southeast, but majority of them are probably here in the Midwest. Next year we'll have 24 plus shows.
Oh, wow.
Forward, so it'll be quite diverse.
Do you have anything located in like upstate New York / Buffalo area?
Yes, we have. Then let me bring up my
Basically, I'm asking because that's driving distance for me. I'm in Canada, so I gotta plan ahead these things.
Gotcha. Well, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. So yeah, we have the Pennsylvania ProAm October 16th this year. We have the battle. I'm sorry, the let's see. Yeah, it looks like for this year we've got the Pennsylvania ProAm on October 16th. That's really probably the closest we have for you at this time. But something you might consider if it isn't too far is our big year-end event, which is November 6th in Burnsville, Minnesota. It's more Midwest, but upper Midwest, up north there.
Yep. What's the spring next year look like?
That's going to be pretty busy. April 17th or about 17th will be our first shows. We have what's called the Goddess Classic events. Those are actually all women events.
Okay.
We have the Florida Surge in April. We have the Baltimore Natural in April. We'll have what's called our Solid Sugar Hill Showdown in Georgia. And in May, we've got a Cardinal Classic, and that's in Youngstown, Ohio. We have another Goddess Classic in May. We'll have Sky Soldier Classic in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We have Battle of York. It'll be in June in York, PA.
Which was the Dan? Welcome.
Thank you. I'm listening. I'm amazed how you can remember every single show just off the top of your head.
No, he's got it pulled up.
I got the portal in front of me because
you got it.
I can't have everyone in my brain. I got too much to track. But
where was that show in October of this year?
Oh, so October was that was.
You said Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yeah,
that's right up Dan's alley.
York, PA, the Pennsylvania ProAm.
When is that? When in October?
October 16th.
The 16th.
Yes.
Things just got interesting up on the podcast.
What's the requirements to compete in the pro?
So let me look what the promoter has on that. It's a pro qualifier in all of our divisions on the amateur side. The pros is the men's bodybuilding physique and women's bodybuilding figure and bikini. Otherwise, for pros, we accept pros from all of the natural orgs. We don't.
Okay. Because I have my OCB card, so.
We absolutely accept OCB pro cards.
Okay. York is not far. I think York's about 3 hours. I'll have to talk with Josh about it, my coach. I have shows on the 9th and the 24th that I'm already targeting. So that's
bang.
Cool. Maybe bang, bang, bang. Yes. York is not far though. York is like a 3-hour drive. And I think my brother wouldn't mind going to York and going to York Barbell. We we
Well, we'd
have
love to have
a
you
few pieces of theirs. Yeah.
For all our shows, go out to usbf.net and out to the events. So we'll give you all the events coming up.
So you touched on that, but you accept pros from any organization?
All natural organizations, correct.
Awesome.
And we're a firm believer, once a pro, always a pro. We don't force our pros to have to, compete every so often. If you're a pro, you know that you need to be in shape to compete as a pro. So you pay for your membership when you're ready to compete again.
Yep.
Athletes like to take 5, sometimes 7 years off to grow for a natural.
Yeah, and we definitely appreciate that. I mean, we've touched on that. Leroy, I don't even know how many times at this point about, competing timelines and how we actually don't like that some organizations force you to compete every so often, because we like to be able to take extended off seasons.
Sure.
So we certainly appreciate that. I mean, I'm speaking for Leroy, but I know Leroy's opinion on this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so I pulled up the post that you guys threw up there just a little over a week ago or so. So I'm just going to read this out, and then we can kind of talk about the subject matter. So basically, the title of the post, you guys can see it on screen here, but next level drug testing. So Jack and I were talking about this before we come on live, but it's been a kind of a popular topic, I guess, within the natural bodybuilding community about drug testing. And
popular is one way to say it.
Yeah, heated could be another term. But basically, what is involved in good quality drug testing? Why do you want drug testing? The importance of it and that kind of stuff. So reading the post, to help continue raising the bar at all our events, independent third-party drug testing, in brackets, which will manage the entire collection and drug testing process, will be conducted at our inaugural USBF Midwest Legends Classic. All specimens collected with airtight chain of custody will be tested for a full comprehensive list of banned substances, including anabolic steroids, SARMs, RX diuretics, fat loss drugs, etc. No corners should be cut when it comes to ensuring the integrity and preservation of our drug-free sport. Better yet, this is all being done at no expense to the athlete, which I think is something we need to talk about. So I guess I'll kind of give you the floor, Jack, with what this means, to you. What do you think this means for the athletes and that kind of stuff?
So really what it means with a big piece of that is we didn't want to have to train our own drug collection officers. There's just too many errors in the chain of custody. Things can get broken and happen. You just don't want to see that. So I decided to go with DFSI to do the third party collection, because they have an excellent way of documenting and making sure their protocols are done correctly. It eliminates human errors of filling out paperwork and stuff like that, because it's all electronic, and it helps reduce liabilities from a federation or the promoter stand. So this is a process that we're probably going to be implementing at most of the shows. We can have them come in and actually train some of our people to be drug collection officers, and we may look at that as well. But I chose to do that for my show just because I just didn't want to have the hassle of some errors coming up. Then we have athletes coming back and saying, "What happened?"
Yep.
But as you know, and there's been a lot of issues around the polygraphs. We don't do the polygraphs because there's just been too many errors. People have slipped through. In a lot of cases, just the fact that some athletes just don't know what's on the banned drug list. You don't know, that's not gonna show up on a polygraph. So, we do communicate to the athletes. They need to be reading their labels and make sure they're using quality product and looking at our banned substance list, so they know what they should be looking for.
Yep.
And always they can reach out to us promoters or even myself to get a better understanding, and they can share their information so we can analyze it for them. But it's something that really had to be addressed, that we've just seen too many cases where, well, we've caught a few this year, for that matter of fact, diuretics that had slipped through other organizations.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is important too, is like the secure chain of custody, because, you know, you hear horror stories about, you know, people just being shady behind the scenes, right? And something slips through, or something gets handed off, or something's not completely legit. So, you know, that security, I think, is really important, and it protects the organization when it comes to like legal side of things, I'm sure.
Sure. And then we provide the lab results to the athletes so they know.
Yeah.
So they can see it.
So I guess a question with that, specifically as someone who competes in the OCB, and then thinking about, you know, that York show on the 16th, my main target for the season is the Yorton Cup on the 24th, and I know the OCB is very strict about ensuring that their athletes that are competing at other shows are providing results from said shows to the OCB, which we can get into whether that's, whether we like that policy or not, but that's a separate topic. But regardless, they have that policy in place. So I guess that my question is, what does USBF do to, you know, are they able to comply with that to assist the athletes that want to compete in the OCB specifically?
Well, we would obviously provide the results to you, the lab report, but now whether OCB accepts that, honestly, you're going to have to run that by their head folks to make sure it is acceptable to them.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to pretend I know their rules and regulations on their qualifications of that, but we would definitely provide you the result information.
For sure. Yeah. No, I figured it. I mean, it would need to be run by the OCB, but I wasn't sure if that's something that a question that's come up from you, that to provide it to somebody else or to another party, or
we provide it to you,
or what, I guess, what the timeline is as well. What is the timeline that you get the results back?
That varies depending on the lab itself, on how busy they are, but usually you would see that within about 2 weeks, I believe.
Okay.
Probably about the extent of that time.
Okay. I'll have to look into that a little bit, because that would be, like if I did want to compete at a York show, it would be a week away. So I would need a quick turnaround on something. I don't know what the OCB. I'll have to check with them.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
What's the rule with the USBF if someone does get caught? Are they perma-banned? Is it a certain amount of time? What's the deal?
Well, that depends on what it is. Like a diuretic, that may be a 1-year ban. If it's anabolics, you know, that could be a lifetime ban. So it's really based on what it is that they fail on. But
who makes that judgment call?
That's set by us at USBF.
Oh, okay.
So you have different distinctions of different lists or different categories.
If I remember, it's pretty standard across the industry of natural bodybuilding, but yeah, you do want to check with your individual organizations to see what their limits on. Of course, you know, you can't use any anabolics, you know, 7 years prior to a show.
Yep.
Things are pretty standard, but
so you know, you seem very like you know, very confident, and when you say these things, like, to you, you know, this kind of testing is very important, I gather.
Right. Obviously, I mean, we've seen, like I said, because of the failures we've already caught already, kind of shows that this is something that's needed. We really feel because once you sign up with USBF, you basically comply that you will accept out of season testing as well.
Right.
And, honestly, that's probably where we're going to catch a majority of years.
Who gets tested at shows? Is it overall winners? Is it everybody who's designed or who's kind of picked that?
Yeah, so generally speaking, like at my show, I did select to do all the top money winners and the pro card winners. The testing we do is expensive, and the promoter takes on that responsibility. So we do limit to that. And then say if there's a failure, then we would do like an out of season testing on the next one down to second place to make sure they're good to go.
Yep. Yep. So let's kind of turn a little bit to the organization itself. Who gets pro cards at these shows? What's the standard? Is it, an overall win? Is it certain shows? Because every organization I feel is different these days.
So all our shows are pro qualifiers. We do not have the required five, but we do want to have top class athletes in the show to be able to give out a pro card. We're not going to just hand it out like candy. So if you're in a pro card, it's proven worthy by the judges and the promoter themselves.
Right.
We do the overalls for the open class and masters classes as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's something, we've talked about too between the three of us is, the class minimums to hand out a pro card, or, if someone just shows up on their own and someone, this is a conversation I've had with my coach where it's like someone can show up to a show, be pro caliber and not get a pro card because the class minimums aren't met. And, my coach was like, it's not my responsibility to bring other athletes. I'm going to bring a great athlete to the stage. And if there's 2 people or 22 people, they're still great. Right. So I think, the kind of setup you have where it's, judges' discretion to an extent where it's, they're going to look at you and they're going to say, look, you're good enough or you're not.
Right. Yep. We
Which
bring
is
in
good.
top quality judges from all organizations, not just USBF. So, and we require if we can to get judges that don't have clients in the show. If we do, judges where they can step out, so we can drop that their judgment.
For sure. What's kind of, or is there, the big show, right? So Dan mentioned earlier the Yorton Cup within the OCB. That's kind of their big one, or, WMBF has their Worlds. What's your premier event?
So ours is in November 6th up in Burnsville, Minnesota. Just gonna bring it up here real quick. And it's on November 6th. It's called the United States Championship ProAm. And of course, it's a pro qualifier for all open and masters classes. The pro divisions will have open, masters 40 and 50 plus. And for our pro payouts, we're guaranteeing our payouts as well. So first place is 5,000, second place is 2,000, and third is 1,000. And those pro payouts are for both men and women. We don't draw a distinction. You'll see a lot of organizations that pay differently for whether it's men and women. We don't do that. So
That's awesome.
That's a plus from my standpoint.
For sure.
Everybody equally.
Yep.
Other memberships are same for both pros and amateurs. No difference there.
That's good. There you go, Dan. You can go in November and chase out some thousands.
Oh yeah.
We'll be chasing some thousands. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see if we come out in the red or green. Here, I'm guessing it's still going to be red with expenses, but it's okay. If I make a few bucks here, though.
Your confidence is next level.
I mean, the cost of competing is just generally like with travel and everything is kind of,
Yeah, it does get expensive. There's no doubt about it.
Yep,
so.
For sure. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man, and kind of sharing some insight to the USBF and, obviously talking about the drug testing and that kind of stuff. I think it's important that it's, a bit more of an open forum than maybe it used to be. And, this is a subject that is very important to our sport, regardless of, bodybuilding is bodybuilding, but, we're natural bodybuilding. So we need to ensure it stays that way. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a distinct rule.
Yeah, for sure. For people looking to compete or want to see the show schedule, what's the best way to learn more about the USBF?
Go out to usbf.net and you can find all the information about the organization, the events coming up, and of course the drug testing that we do and our criteria, all that's out there.
Awesome. Do you run the Instagram, or do you have someone else do it?
I actually have someone else do it.
Okay.
It's just too hectic. You gotta have outsource some of those responsibilities.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Jack, for your time. And, we look forward to hopefully touching base again in the future. And, maybe some of us will step on a USBF stage in the next little bit.
I hope so.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for your time, man.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.